Today's session. So today we are starting a new series of DevOps tool, which is Ansible. Okay, so I know it's been very long time since we had a session, and today is the best day. Like we choose to start with Ansible, right? So let's kickstart understanding what is Ansible tool. So Ansible is a very important tool. Okay, it's very important tool in our DevOps tool. Basically, Ansible plays a very vital role. It plays a very vital role in the CI/CD pipelining. It means that whenever the DevOps engineer want to push the code or want to deploy the code into the server or into the test server or into the servers. So he uses the Ansible tool to push the code or to install or to deploy the code. Okay, so right now I'm not really discussing much about Ansible, how Ansible comes into CI/CD pipelining. When we start with the Jenkins, right, at that time, we can clearly understand how exactly Ansible fits within that pipelining. But as of now, we are just learning as as a standalone tool actually about the Ansible. Okay, now so Ansible is a configuration management tool. Okay, it's a configuration management tool, we say. So what do you mean by configuration management? Configuration management is something like, suppose you have servers. So let me open the MS Paint. Suppose you have servers actually. You have a lot of servers are there. Okay. Assume that these are nothing but these are the servers where you're deploying an application or where the applications are getting hosted or where the applications are running. Right. So you need a method where you can actually deploy the code into this server actually. So you need to suppose there's a code actually, there's some .exe code is there, and you want to install that code or you want to deploy the code into this servers actually. So you need a method or you need a way to deploy the code. Either you can deploy it manually, right? Either you can deploy manually. It means that you have to just copy that code and place into some particular path here in this, or else, right? Or else, what you have to do that you need to automatically you want to do it out actually. Automatically means automated way. It means that you need to write some kind of a script, right? Or some kind of an automation script where by running that script the deployment will happen actually, right? So what exactly we are doing here, we are actually deploying an application over here. Okay, so here Ansible act like a configuration management tool. It means that suppose you want to deploy any code into the servers, Ansible is one of the best tool where you can use for deploying the code or deploying the code into the servers actually, right? Apart from deploying the code, you know that many times like we even installs the package also. Suppose you say, Rajesh, this is a server and I want to install some kind of a web server, or I want to install some Tomcat server, or else I want to install some database, right? So how you do it basically, like usually the system administrator, what happened, right? He will have a set of steps to install. He has a step of manual steps to install all these servers, right? Web server, Tomcat server, database server, right? So what he will do, he will log into this server and he will try to execute those steps, manual steps over there, so that the installation of the software happens, right? So this is the manual way of doing it, right? So now the question comes like, is there any way where we can automate the whole stuff for instead of I doing manually, right? Is it possible that I can automate it so that if I run something like automatically all this software should get installed? Yes, we can again write some scripts actually. You can either write a Python script or your shell script to automate it completely, right? But you have a separate tool now, which is the Ansible tool, or we call it as a configuration management tool. With the help of an Ansible configuration management tool, CM, configuration management tool, Ansible can also be used for installing the software also. Suppose tomorrow you say that, Rajesh, I want to do some kind of a patching into this server. I want to upgrade the patching, or there is some networking new patch has come. You need to upgrade those patch, right? You can use the Ansible configuration management tool to upgrade the package also. So what I mean to say that whatever a user can do in a command line, or he want to execute some, some commands, or he want to execute some particular task, or he want to deploy a code, or else he want to deploy, or he want to install any software into the servers. If anything a user want to do, he can do in a very nice manner by using Ansible tool actually. So Ansible plays a very vital role in a day-to-day activities. Okay, so now. Okay, so we will talk much about Ansible and what exactly Ansible does and everything. I'm just telling you that whatever a user can do with the system by either by manually doing it, executing the commands, or manually following any steps to to install some softwares, or else he might have automated stuff by writing scripts and executing that script to do it. The same stuff, everything, it can be done by the configuration management tool, which is nothing but Ansible. Okay, now now the question comes like, why we need a Ansible tool, or why we need a configuration management tool? What is a necessity? What is a requirement? Now, like as you know that whenever any application is developed by the developer, right? What the DevOps model says. DevOps model says that always deliverable of your application faster to the market, right? Faster to the market. That is what DevOps model says, right? So whenever any product is developed, or when any application is developed, so always we'll make sure that my applications or my product should be very much faster delivered to the market, right? So that is what like every company sees, right? Because they say that, okay, my product should be released very faster to the market, so that I should be ahead with the competition. My application should be used by maximum number of customers or the clients, right? So you need to you need to earn, or you need to generate the revenue. So that's the reason what happened, right? Usually every company they always think that how fast I can deliver my product to my customer, or how fast I can actually deliver my application to the market. So whenever you want to release any product to the market, actually we always follow some kind of a process actually, right? So nowadays we know that DevOps model is a very highly recommended model which we use actually, so that by using the DevOps model we can achieve any kind of a deliverables of our product faster to the market, correct? Now, the question comes that how exactly we can deliver fast to the market, right? So obviously, right, whenever we have an application, who develops the application? Okay, the developer will develop the application, correct? So it means the developer should be quick enough to write the application, right? In any of, like, you might use any technology, right? Either you can use a .NET or Java, or any technology, or Node.js or React, any technology we use, right, to develop the code, right? So basically, the developer has to develop the code, right? So he will develop the code actually, right? Finally, what happened, right? Whatever the code or whatever the application which is developed, right? That application has to be deployed into some server, deployed or installed into some server, correct? Right? So just deploying into the server, some server doesn't suffice your need, right? There has to be some kind of a testing should happen, right? Correct, guys? There has to be some kind of a testing. Without a testing, how you will simply, you cannot deliver the product like that. You should do a lot of testing, right? So you need to do some kind of basic testing, smoke testing, regression testing, some kind of operation testing, security testing. You need to do the application has to undergo a lot of different kind of testing, right? Even stress testing, right? Many different testing techniques are there where the application has to go through. Finally, we certify that the, yeah, right, the application is working fine in all the environment, right? And also the applications are like not highly vulnerable to some kind of threats. Actually, it is highly secure. So you have a lot of stuffs in the testing where you will work on those testing aspects, and you will certify saying that your application is currently it is working fine and with very less bugs actually, right? So that is what the approach. So that's the reason what happened that the tester comes into the picture, right? So basically the testers, right, what they do, they test the product actually. They test the product or they test the application, right? So how they test the application, basically they have some testing tool. Like for example, if you have some kind of a web application or some kind of website you have developed it, right? And you need to really test it actually. Usually what the user will do, the tester will do, the tester will basically he will do some kind of a manual testing, right? He will do some kind of a manual testing to make sure that so at least the basic stuffs are working. So it means that he can launch that URL, he can log into that URL, you can browse anywhere into that website, right? He can click into the some button where he'll make sure that everything is working fine. That is a normal basic testing he will do, right? And many other testings also the tester will do. Finally what happened that the tester want to make it the whole testing in an automated fashion, right? So he need to run some kind of a regression test suite and all. So basically what the tester will do, he will use some tool actually. Basically he will use some Selenium tool, right? So to develop the automated test cases actually, right? So what the tester needs basically, whenever he want to test the product, whenever want to test the product, what happened that he expects certain things to he there is some prerequisite expectation for each and every test engineer. What is that prerequisite? The prerequisite that actually he need the server actually. He need the server where already the application is installed. Okay, and there are many other server settings are there which should be which should be available. There are many server settings are there which should be available, which should be configured or available before he start the test, right? So now what happened, right? Basically, what will happen that like in every industry, software industry, right? Like basically what happened, right? If you see in a Bangalore, right? Usually what happened in every industry, basically the shift, no, there are a lot of different shifts are there. Even in our company, we have different shifts. So usually what happened, the testers, right? Basically they will come to the office very early, like by 10 or 10:30, they will try to log into the, they will come to the office actually. Now, what happened as soon as they come? So, what the tester will do? They need or they will run some kind of a test cases, right? They will try to run some kind of test case, or they will try to run some of their sanity tests actually, right? So immediately what happened, right? They whenever they want to kickstart the sanity test, right? They expect some kind of a server or some kind of an environment should be already been set before they start running it actually, right? Long before, how it used to happen, right? Developer is to develop the code, right? And he is to inform to the test engineer that that to so the developer is to inform to the test engineer that you set up the server, you set up the environment, or you set up the server, okay? Install the software or install that application and test it. So what the testing engineer do? Like every day he comes morning at 10 o'clock. Okay, he need to set up the server. He need to install that application what is given by the developer, and finally he has to do the testing, right? So by the time when he gives the result of the entire testing, no, it would have took his entire day, right? Because setting the server, setting the environment, or installing the applications or the softwares and everything, it is little bit tedious task, right? So the testing engineer, before he start running the test cases or before he started running his sanity, he requires this setup to be done. So he will do it. So it might take some few hours, or maybe it might take some half day or so, and then finally he has to test it. And what happened that you need to give the test result to the developers, right? So in that case, what happened, right? It is taking a lot of time. Correct. So if that happens, do you think that we can achieve the DevOps model, or do you can achieve that the faster delivery of the product to the market? You cannot achieve through with this model. So this was earlier, this kind of a style was happening. It means that the tester has to do some kind of a setup before he kickstart any execution for executing any of his test suite actually. So later what happened, right? The administrator came into the picture actually. So what the admin will do that, he will be told, administrator means basically he is a Linux admin, or he's kind of a administrator for the servers actually. So what the admin is to do, right? The admin knows that actually when the tester engineers will log in, okay, he knows that actually the tester engineers will log in at morning 10 o'clock. So what the admin will do at morning itself, like 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, right? He will set up the server. He will set up the environment or set up the server actually. Set up the servers means basically you already have a server, you need to configure certain things, you need to install some softwares and all, and finally you have to install the applications also. So those everything that job is done by the admin guy, right? Admin in sense like now we call them as a DevOps engineer, but earlier we used to call as a Linux admin or administrator we used to call. So he used to develop, so he used to set up the whole environment, and he used to get ready actually, right? And what happened that the testing engineer will log in at around 10 o'clock or 10:30, and he will get the ready-made servers, and he will start running the test cases or whatever the sanity is there, right? Those sanity he will start executing, right? So by this way, what will happen that the the tester engineer can fastly test the product, and he can give the results of those reports of those all those test cases to the developer, so that the developer could come to know about the quality of the applications. So in that way we can, we will be able to achieve the deliverables of that application very faster into the market, right? This is one of the model, right? Now what happened, as things were getting progress, we came to into the DevOps model, right? Where what the DevOps engineer will do, basically the DevOps engineer, he will try to do a setup of the server actually, the same stuff, setup of the server or setup of the environment, right? Also installing all the softwares, and also the same DevOps engineer will be provided the sanities also. With that, the testers basically they'll hand over all the sanitizers to the DevOps engineer, saying that as soon as you set up all this environment and installing all the software, you just execute the sanities what we have given. So what the DevOps engineer will do that, he will even run the sanities also once the setup is completed. So what happens that after the sanities are getting executed, it will give you the result either passed or failed, and you will get all the results over into the email, and you will share the same details to the testers actually. So as soon as the tester logs in by 10 or 10:30, before he logs in actually, right, all the sanities would have been completed by the DevOps engineer itself, and he will give the result to the testers actually. Now testers, as soon as he logs in, he will get to know that where exactly the issue is, so that he will start working on that particular test case failure. So there is some particular test case failure has happened, he will try the issue. So in that way, what happened, right? You will be able to achieve, deliverables very fast, right? So this is what no nowadays no the industry is using. So right, this is a model, and now you know that actually that setting the environment or installing the software is not so easy. It's not like that, there is some magic will happen and suddenly all the things will get installed, right? So it doesn't happen that way, right? So you need some kind of a tool where by using that tool effectively, you can actually install the softwares or deploy the applications very fastly into n number of into the servers, right? Maybe like your application might be hosted into many of the servers actually, right? It's not one or two. There might be some two servers, or there might be 200 servers, right? You need to install the whole softwares and the applications, everything into 100 or 200 servers, right? So you need some kind of a method, or you need some kind of a tool where the tool act like a setup in the environment. So in that case, what happened that the Ansible plays a very vital role. So Ansible tool is a configuration management tool where you can actually set up the whole infrastructure setup, okay, parallelly in all the machines actually. Okay, so that's how the Ansible is used actually. So in this way, what happened, right? We will be able to achieve very fast way of deploying your application into the servers. So almost most of the industry nowadays, they're using Ansible tool for deploying their applications actually. Okay. So you are having a servers like this, you are having two servers or 200 servers. By using the Ansible, you can deploy the application, whatever is given by the developer, right? You can install it in every of the machine, right, in a very faster way. That is what the Ansible is used. Is it clear, guys? Okay. So now, okay. Now coming back to what are the things we have to learn, or we will go ahead with we will not go ahead directly with understanding about how to install the Ansible and all. We will see later actually. Now we will see the difference between the the previous way how we are doing and what exactly the Ansible does actually. Okay. Now, you know that whenever suppose you have a server actually, you have a server. This is a server actually. This could be any server like Linux server or Windows server. So preferably we'll say that is a Linux server. Okay, and it's a Red Hat Linux server actually. Right. Now assume that actually you say that Rajesh, I want to install some kind of a web server. Right. I want to install some kind of a web server. So what you will do that you say that Rajesh, there is a step of installing the softwares. Right. Suppose I want to install a web server. So I want to install the web server. So how you will do that? There is a command to install it actually. How you do? You have to say that yum install httpd, right? Yum install http -y, like this you execute it. As well as after that, you need to restart the http service. You say systemctl restart or start httpd, right? So these are the commands you run so that your web server will get installed into a Red Hat or into the Linux machine. Correct? Now you say that actually, okay, fine. Now you say that Rajesh, I have executed by using this commands actually, right? Suppose assume that you say that Rajesh, I want to automate it. I don't want to do it manually. So what you will do that you will try to write some shell script actually. So in the shell script, basically you will add these two commands into the script and you will start running the script actually. As soon as you run the script, the installation of the software as well as the start of the service will happen. Correct? Now, assume that you say that Rajesh, I have it's not only one server, I have many servers like that where I want to install the softwares actually, or I want to install this web server or HTTP software into all this machine. Assume that all these machines are Linux machine itself, it's a Red Hat machine. Okay, so now you say that okay, Rajesh, no problem. I have a script anyhow. I will try to run this script in all these machines actually, all these machines. Now there is a guarantee that this shell script will get successfully executed in all these machines, and this installation of the HTTP package will happen in all the servers. Okay, it happens. But sometime what happened, right? There could be a chance where the script might get failed, or it might not properly get executed, or there could be some issue because of that reason the script has not executed. So the software installation has not happened to some particular servers. So now what you will do, you will go to that server and you will manually, you will triage the issue. You will try to understand why the software didn't install it properly, so that you will try to triage and you'll get to know exactly why the issue has happened, right? So now what happened, right? The shell script, what happened, right? Some developer or some person has written a shell script actually. So there is a possibility that the shell script might pass, or there could be a possibility also the script might fail also, right? Suppose I have written a script today to do all this configuration, everything installation. Suppose tomorrow I will leave the job, like I will go and I will just join some other organization, right? Now what happened that some other engineer will be hired. He has to understand how the script has been written, right? So he'll open the script, he'll try to understand it. He might understand the script properly, he might not understand, right, based on his knowledge base, right? So he has to maintain that script actually. So in that case what happened, right, he need to understand how exactly the script works, and he is to even understand that what could be some kind of a error condition where in which chance or in which particular situation the script might fail actually. right? So it is little bit cumbersome to maintain the script and to handle the script and to check the script whether the script has been executed or not fine in all the servers. It is little tedious task actually. Okay, so to overcome that itself, actually to overcome that issue itself, right, we have a configuration management actually, configuration management tool. So that's the reason the configuration management tool has come into the picture. Now in the configuration management tool, what happens that always configuration management tool, like we call the CM tool, will maintain the idempotency. What do you mean by idempotency means actually, what is the meaning of idempotency means? For example, always at any condition, whenever you are executing any kind of automation using the configuration management tool, always it get executed successfully. Okay, like for example, you say that Rajesh, I have a script shell script which will try to execute this commands and it will try to install the softwares over in these machines. Okay, fine. You say that Rajesh, I have run this script here into this machine one. So this is the machine one where I have execute that script. So what that script will do, machine one, that script it will execute and it will install your HTTP package. Correct? It will install the HTTP package into this machine, right? Now assume that by mistakenly you have executed, re-executed again the same script again into this machine. So now what happened that this script will throw error saying that already HTTP packet has been installed, right? So there will be a chance where you might re-execute the same script again and again to the same server. So your script will fail, saying that actually the script has that already the software has been installed. Now, now what happened that now the same thing in the configuration management tool, like suppose like you have many configuration management tool you have, like before before Ansible, right? You have a configuration management tool like Puppet you had, and afterwards we came to know with the chef actually, and after the chef the Ansible came into the picture actually. So before Ansible or like there were many other configuration tools, management tools were there which exist actually. Later Ansible came to the picture. We will see what is the difference between Ansible and with other configuration management tool, we will see later. But as of now I'm saying that these are some of the very important configuration management tool which are there in the market now. So Ansible is most lightweight and the preferable configuration management tool. Now what you are saying, what you say, so now you say that Rajesh, I want to achieve the same thing by for installing the software into this machine by using Ansible. Okay, so through Ansible, how you are going to do, you will say that actually to the Ansible that, okay, ensure that something I'm just typing in an English word, ensure that HTTP package is installed and ensure that HTTP service is started. This is what you're telling to the Ansible. So how you're telling this stuff to the Ansible, we are telling this stuff to the Ansible with the help of a YAML file or with the help of a playbook file. We will see all these things later. What is this? What I'm trying to tell. So with the help of a YAML file, or we call it as a playbook actually, through that we are trying to tell to the Ansible that ensure that the HTTP packet is installed into this machine and ensure that the HTTP service is started. This is what in a simple method or in a manner you are telling it. Now a user doesn't want to know how exactly Ansible will take care of installing this package or restarting the service or starting the service. A user, he need not to really know it actually. It is all taken care internally by the Ansible or with the help of Ansible models. Okay, with the help of Ansible, nothing but Ansible models, it will take care of doing all this stuff. So now what happened that in the script, what you have to do means you have to write a intelligence of, okay, what is required and how to do it. Basically, whenever you write any shell script, you as a user or as a shell script writer, I need to make sure that what is required with what is required through my script and how to do it. So it means that both the stuff you need to tell to your script actually. It means that you need to write into the script so that when the script is executed, the script will know that, okay, I want to install this software. How to install software? Oh, yum, install HTTP package. Okay, fine. After that, you have to tell that, oh, you need to start the service, systemctl start HTTP. So it means that basically you, through the help of a shell script, you need to apply both the logic. You have to say that what is required and how to do it actually, right? So that's what we are telling it actually. But here in case of Ansible, we are not telling what is required and how to do it. We are just telling that what is required for me. So ensure that the HTTP package is installed and ensure that the HTTP service is started. This is what I'm telling to the Ansible. And Ansible will make sure that, okay, Ansible with the help of this is just a simple way of no, writing in English text. I'm just saying, no, it is not like that actually. Basically, we will be writing some kind of a YAML file, or we'll be writing a playbook file, preferably, to make sure that we are telling the Ansible to what to do actually. Now, what happens that now when I run this shell script will try to install all the softwares and restart the service in all these servers, right? And the same thing, as I said earlier, if you're executing the shell script again one more time into the same server, now what happens? The second time when you run, the shell script will fail, saying that actually this service is already, or this package is already installed. But whereas the same thing, you say that, Rajesh, I need to run an Ansible, okay, where I need this package to be installed. Okay, what Ansible will do, or Ansible models will do, it will check into this machine, in the machine one, whether the HTTP package is installed or not. It is not installed. Let it install. Okay. After installing, it will check whether the service is started or not. It checks. Okay. So it checks whether the service is started or not. So it says that, oh, the service is not yet, it will start it. Fine. Now the next time again you are running the same Ansible or the same playbook or YAML file. So now already the package is installed. Now you'd say that, okay, Ansible said ensure the HTTP package is installed. So it checks, is there any HTTP package installed? Yes, it is installed. Oh, don't do anything. Okay, fine. Is the service HTTP started? Is up and running? Ansible will check, is it up and running? Yes, it is up and running. Oh, don't do anything. So it means that at any case, Ansible will not fail actually. Even though the software is installed, it will ignore. Okay, the software, it will check, it is installed, it will ignore it. Okay. So same thing, like for example, if I say that Rajesh, I want to create one directory. Okay, I'll say that mkdir test directory I will write. I'm creating a test directory, right? So directory by name test will get created. Now the test directory is created. Now again you said that, Rajesh, if I again do a mkdir on the tester, again I agree with the same command. What it says that, hey, the test directory, it will fail. The mkdir will fail, and it will throw the error that test directory is already present, right? Correct. The same stuff. So here in the command line I'm doing, and if I'm re-executing the same command again, the command is getting failed because already this test directory exists. Okay. Now the same thing you want to talk, or you want to, the same stuff you want to do to the Ansible. So what you will do? How you will tell to the Ansible? You will tell to the Ansible that, okay, what you will tell to the Ansible? You will tell to the Ansible that, okay, make sure that test directory is present in some particular path. You say that, Rajesh, if I say under /home, Rajesh, this test directory should be there. Make sure that the test directory is present in this /home Rajesh directory. So what the Ansible will do, Ansible with the help of some models, okay, something like, for example, to just tell you now, okay, Ansible uses a lot of models. So there's one model known as a file model actually, or mkdir model. So using this mkdir model, what Ansible will do, Ansible will try to create under home Rajesh, it will try to create one test directory. Right? Now the test directory is getting got created. So Ansible has did its job. Now you say that, Rajesh, I want to execute the same task again. in the Ansible. Now you say that you are telling Ansible, make sure that a test directory is present in the /home Rajesh. So it checks whether there's any test directory already present in the /home Rajesh. Yes, it is present. The Ansible will ignore it. It will not throw any error, right? So in that case, what happened, right? You run one time or 100 times the Ansible playbook or Ansible YAML, right? Always it will give the same result. Whereas a shell script or the command, it might differ, right? You might execute the shell script for the first time, it will get successfully executed. But maybe there is a chance that if you execute for the second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time, the script might fail actually due to some reason. Okay, due to some reason, or maybe like you need to add all those error conditions. So the shell script writer, he should be so intelligent enough that he need to add all the error conditions so that his script should run at any case. It should even run at the negative case also. Suppose if something is if there is a negative stuff is there, you need to even test whether that negative test also should get passed. Like that, you need to enable all those negative scenarios also. In that case, if you write it, yeah, maybe sometime what happened, the shell script might like execute successfully in every possible condition, right? But that is very difficult, right? You will not get such expert shell script writer where they'll add all those error conditions, right? It's not possible. So maybe there is a chance that your shell script might fail at some condition. Whereas whenever you write any configuration by using YAML or you're writing any playbook, always make sure that Ansible will always execute successfully, and it will give the same kind of a same kind of a output. It will go it will give. It is not like that Ansible will give one output at the first time, second you are running it will give second. It's not like that. It is something like if you give a kid a calculator and you tell to the kid that you always type 2 plus 2, what? So what the kid will do, the whole night he will be pressing 2 plus 2, that is 4, 2 plus 2, 4. So always the 2 plus 2 will always give the result 4 only. So the kid will be always be pressing in the calculator 2 plus 2, 2 plus 2. He will get the result 4 only. He will not get 4, 5, 6, 7, right? It won't, you won't get the different results, right? You will get the same results. So that's what the same way what Ansible does, that whenever you are executing any playbook file, always the result is same. So this concept of getting the same result even though you are executing for 100 times or 1000 times, we call this as a idempotency. Idempotency in the word, getting the same result at any given point of time. Okay, so that's what happened, right? Ansible is very favorable tool which is used because it will it will make sure that the Ansible playbook or the Ansible YAML will never get failed. It successfully get executed at any condition, right? And parallelly, suppose like you are having 10 servers or hundreds or thousand servers, you need to set up the same, or you need to deploy the application into all those 100 servers or 1000 servers. Ansible can parallelly install or deploy your application or into all the servers parallelly. So that is what it is. Whereas here in this case of shell script, suppose you are writing a shell script, you say that Rajesh, using a shell script, I want to deploy some application into all the 100 servers. Shell script will take its own sweet time, right? You have to log into the server, execute script and come out. Again, log into the server, execute script and come out. Here, what happened is you might not be achieving the parallelly. Here, in some case, what happened, the shell script might be sequentially execute one after the other server. So it will take some time actually to deploy it, right? Whereas in Ansible, it will achieve, you can achieve, Ansible internally uses the parallelly. It means that parallelly, whatever the nodes we have, right, it will install everywhere at the same point of time. So that is also one of the advantage of using the Ansible over any kind of other manual stuff or any other methods of deploying an application, right? Now, so that's what it is. Now, where exactly the Ansible is used actually? Ansible is used basically for, right, like uh, for the server management. Like for example, server management in case like you want to set up some servers. Like for example, I want to set up a Apache server, right? I want to set up the LAMP server, right? LAMP is Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP. You want to set up everything. Okay. So in that case, what happened? Basically, it is something like you are setting some servers, or you are trying to install some softwares. There, Ansible plays a very vital role, right? This is one thing. Second, like these days what happened, right? Even Ansible is used even in the networking domain also. Like there are many networking, managements are there, right? It's not like I'm doing a normal basic networking. Actually it's not like that. Suppose for example there are a lot of teams are there where the teams are managing a lot of switches and routers and all, right? So what happened, right? The network engineer, what he will do, right? He will try to set up some kind of a configuration into some like in some switch actually, or into some router. So what he has to do, that the same configuration he want to push into some 100 switches or into 100 routers actually, right? So he will push everything manually. He might be doing, or he might be using some automated script to do it, so that he will run that script, and that configuration will get applied into all the 100 routers or into the switches, right? So there also what happened, right? You need some kind of an automation tool, or in some kind of a configuration management tool, where you need to push the same code changes into all servers, sorry, into all your routers or into your switches, right? So in that case also, in the networking domain also, Ansible is very much used actually. Okay, Ansible is also used in your day-to-day activity also, like a normal, like for example, in a normal way, what you do, right? You have some file actually, and you need to copy that file into FTP server, and from the FTP server you want to pull into some other server. So like that you do, right? For example, you want to copy a file, copy a file, copy that file from one server to other server, or you need to upload the files or into the FTP server, whatever. So here what you're doing, that you have some set of commands. So by using that set of commands manually you'll be doing, or else you might have written some shell script to do it, so that you are achieving a task of doing a day-to-day activity, right? It's a normal activity. Here also what happened, that you can replace doing all these things with the help of an Ansible playbook file. It means that you can write a YAML or a playbook file to achieve even a normal day-to-day activity also. Okay, guys. So that's how Ansible plays a very important role, right? Okay. So that is what Ansible is used for. So we will see now, like uh, what we can do. We will see that how exactly Ansible works. Okay. What are the prerequisite requires for the Ansible? Okay. What are the things like we need to install to make sure that we get the whole setup of your Ansible? Okay. Now, what are the prerequisite actually? So prerequisite is something like you should already have an operating system, or you should have a server. Okay, you need to have a server. That's a prerequisite, and you can choose any server. Like for example, see Ansible you can install in any platform, like you can install in Linux, or you can even install in Mac also. But when it comes to the Windows, actually Ansible, if you want to install in Linux, actually you cannot directly install it actually. Through some other method you have to install it. So that's the reason Ansible server is not preferable to install in Windows actually. Okay, so that's what we will rule out to install the Ansible in Windows actually. So that's the reason what happened, that always you will see in the industry that Ansible is always installed into the 90% it will be installed in Linux itself actually, right? So you can install the Ansible anywhere. Like for example, you can install the Ansible in Linux, or in some companies they use Mac also. Okay, that's a rare, again the rare. Most of the time, 90 to 95% of the time, you will see that Linux is the most favorable operating system which they use, and they'll install the Ansible in the Linux itself. Okay, so Windows, yeah, very less actually, right? Now, uh, what is an architecture? How we will do it, or how to set up the Ansible actually? So what I will do, that will just go in a diagram format, right? So here what happened, that I will choose one server here. I'll choose one server here. So probably this will be Linux machine or Linux machine. So I can use any flavor. I can either use a Ubuntu or CentOS or Red Hat actually. But in some cases I will choose both the things, Ubuntu as well as Red Hat. But my most preferable is to use the Ubuntu itself. So in my whole discussion on on to this Ansible, right? I'll be using Ubuntu itself actually. Okay, Ubuntu 20.04. This is the version I'll be using actually. Okay, so I have one machine where I'll be installing an Ansible. So I'll be preferably using the Ubuntu, right? After this, what happened that I will have some nodes actually. I need to have some nodes. Nodes are nothing but these are the servers where your application is deployed or where your application is up and running. So this we call it as a nodes actually. I'll call this as a nodes actually. This is the node I'll say like this. Nodes actually. So this I can call it as a node one like this, node one, and this I will call it a node two. So these are the servers where you are actually installing or deploying the applications, right? And this we call it as a configuration management tool, right? Configuration management tool, right? So here, guys, there's one more important things which I have to tell before we start understanding about the prerequisite. I want to tell you something, one more thing. Now, basically, what happened, right? Now, when you are having this kind of a setup, right? So what happened, right? Right now, I'm not mentioning about what is the configuration management tool we are using. Either you can use a Puppet or you can use Ansible, you can use Chef. Any of the configuration management tool, you can use it actually. So this will server will act as a configuration management tool. It means that if I install the Chef, actually this will be a Chef configuration management tool. If I install Puppet, it will be a Puppet. It will be if I install Ansible, it will be Ansible configuration management tool. Correct. So I'm not really telling about which is a specific tool I'm using. I'm just telling in a general way that this is the configuration management tool actually. Now the stuff is that actually now you need to deploy some application here into this nodes actually. Okay, you need to deploy some application. This is the configuration management tool. Here you have written some kind of an automated way or some kind of a automated script or some kind of automated method. So what you are doing that this automated method you want to push or you want to execute this into the node actually, so that whatever you require, suppose you want to deploy an application. Okay, you have something like a vlc.exe something. Okay, you say that Rajesh, I want to install this vlc.exe in all these nodes actually, node 1, node 2. Okay, fine. How will you do that? So basically what happened, you have written some kind of a automation script or some kind of automated method you have written, where what the configuration management tool that will do that it will try to log in into this machine and it will try to execute this automated method over here. So in that automated method, you might have written a script where that script will try to install this VLC software into this node 1. Right? So the vlc.exe will get installed here. How it will get installed? By executing this automated method. So this configuration management tool, what happened? It will try to log into this node 1 and it will try to execute this automated method so that the VLC software will get installed. Similarly, the same automated script will also happen that it will also try to log into this node 2. Configuration management tool will try to log into this node 2 and it will try to execute this automated method into this node 2 also, so that even the VLC will get installed even in this node 2 also. Right? Now, how exactly the communication is happening? So here you could see that this configuration management tool, it is talking or it is communicating with the node actually. This is communicating with the node. Now, how exactly it can communicate with the node? Okay, to communicate with the node or to communicate from one server to other server, you need some kind of an IP address. Okay, I need an IP address, right? Okay, fine. I need IP address. Okay, and also I need some kind of a credentials, right? Communicate without credentials, how you'll do? How you can log into this machine? Suppose there is some user is there, right? Some user is there. So I need to log into that user and I need to execute, right? So you need some kind of a credentials. You need either username and password to log into this machine and to do it, right? So here what happened that your configuration management tool, it is actually communicating with the node 1. So this method, we call it as a push method actually. So guys, in the push method, what happened that the configuration management tool itself will try to communicate to the node actually, right? So we'll try to communicate to the node itself. So this we call it as a push method actually. Okay. Now there are some time what happened that the node itself it want to communicate. The node itself want to communicate with the configuration management tool. So what happened that here the node 2 itself it is trying to communicate with your configuration management tool. So in that case, what happened that this we call it as a pull method. In the pull method, node itself will communicate with the server. Here what is happening that server itself was communicating with the node. Here node itself is trying to communicate with the server. This we call as a pull method actually. Okay. So you know that, see guys, whenever your configuration management tool, whenever it want to communicate with the node 1, it can communicate with the node 1 or it can log into this node 1 with the help of some credentials, right? Okay, it means that you have a credentials. Okay, it means that what this server has to do, configuration management tool has to do, it has to maintain an inventory, some kind of inventory where it need to have the nodes 1 IP address, it has to maintain, fine. Also, it has to even make the credentials also. Means it has to maintain even the username and the password also. So your configuration management tool, it knows that, okay, this is the IP address. Okay. In the inventory, it will go, node 1 is a host name and this is IP address. Okay. So I got the IP address. It means that I'm able to reach to the server. Okay. It means that I'm able to ping to the server. Fine. And I have a credential. Oh, using that credential, what happened that I can directly log in from this server to this server and I can run this automated script or automated method I can run so that I can achieve what is required. So here my achievement is that I need to install the VLC software. Correct. Now you say that same thing what happened that here. So what you are saying in an English language, the push method, what you're saying that I need to install the VLC.exe into the node 1. This is what you are saying. This is what calls a push method actually, right? Whereas the pull method, what happened, right? The node itself want to communicate with the server actually. So he said that what the node 2 will say, he will say that actually, okay, is there anything to be installed or executed in node 2? So it means that the node 2 itself is asking to the server, it's a confirmation to that, is there anything to be installed or executed in this node 2? So it is asking it actually. So it means that basically it is trying to pull the configuration from here. What happened, that automated method or this configuration, it is pushed to the server so that it get executed here. Whereas here it has to pull the configuration from the server to the node 2 actually. So it means that actually here, whenever you are actually communicating with the help of a push method, you have to use the credentials. Whereas in a pull method, there is nothing like a credential over here, because that this node 2 has to communicate with the server. Here what happened that the node 2 is not logged into the server and it is by the help of the server's username and password, it is not communicated via that way. The node 2 is asking, is there any something is there which has to get executed in my machine? That is what it is asking, a request to the server itself. So how exactly the node 2 can communicate with the server? With the help of some kind of a agent. Oh, some kind of agent. So here what happened that there is some kind of an agent is installed. You need to install the agent over here. Some agent is required. With the help of what the agent will do, the agent will do some kind of a polling activity. It polls to the server. It always keep polling to a server. Ask, is there anything which need to be done into the node 2? Is there anything? So it will be keep polling and asking it actually. It means that for the pull method, always an agent is required. Whereas in a push method, there is no agent required. So this push method, we call it agentless. And in the pull method, it is not, but it is agent. So if you're not installing an agent to the node 2, the node 2 cannot communicate with the configuration management tool. There has to be an agent. Agent will take care of communicating. It means that agent will know, oh, how I have to communicate, How I have to make sure that this automated script will get executed, method will get executed over here. After execution, what are the logs you are getting, where I have to maintain that logs, everything this agent knows. Whereas here, you need not to worry, because this server, this configuration management tool itself will try to log into this server and it does all the activity. So here, this server knows everything what I need to do into this node. Whereas here, the node 2 doesn't know. It has to, through the help of an agent, it has to communicate to the server. So this we call the pull method, and this we call the push method. So the examples of the pull methods are nothing but, the pull method is nothing but your chef tool as well as your puppet. Those are, it uses the pull. It means that pull method it uses. So it means that it requires some agent to be installed so that the agent will start communicating with the configuration management tool. Whereas for the class, the example for the push method, the push method used by the Ansible. For the Ansible, you need not to install any agent, right? Because the server itself will communicate with the nodes actually. So that we called as a push method. Okay, guys. So this is a very important aspect we need to understand about what is a push and what is a pull. Okay. So any doubts you have on the push and pull method? No? Okay. So Ansible uses the push method itself, right? Correct. And when we are learning about the chef or chef, anyhow, we are not learning. Suppose in case if we learn the chef, actually, chef is number, it's a pull method. It means that in each and every node, there has to be some agent to be installed actually. Whereas here in Ansible, the all the nodes, it does the nodes doesn't have the agent over in the Ansible. Okay, so that's what. So Ansible is an agentless configuration management tool. Chef or Puppet is an agent-based configuration management tool. Okay, so now, so this is what it is. And coming back to here, the prerequisite. Sorry, I just tangentially went. I want to explain you about the push and pull. That's what I told. But what exactly? What is the lab setup we needed for our Ansible to be started? So we need to have uh, minimum 3 servers. Will maintain it, or we'll have 3 servers. So like this, we have this server. This is the main Ansible server where we'll install the Ansible. And here you have some nodes actually, worker nodes. Like suppose I have a worker node 1, worker node 2. So I have a node 1 and I have a node 2 like this. So what I will do here, this is nothing but your Ansible configuration management server. Okay, this is nothing but your node 1, worker node 1 or node 1 we say preferably, and this is node 2. Now, okay, so here, so this is what we initially will be having. This one will be having 3 servers, and what I will do that I will procure all these 3 servers from AWS. We can either use AWS or Azure or anywhere. Okay, you can actually have these 3 VMs, 3 virtual machines actually. Okay, and now I will choose the Ubuntu here in this case 20.04 here. Even the worker node also I will be using Ubuntu itself here also, Ubuntu 20.04, as well as even the node 2 also Ubuntu will be preferred. You can choose anything actually. Okay, it doesn't really matter. Suppose assume that you say that Rajesh, I have a configuration management tool. Here what happened that Ubuntu I have installed fine, but whereas a worker node, instead of Ubuntu, I need Red Hat. Okay, I need Red Hat. You say, okay, no problem. You can have a Red Hat 7 or Red Hat 8 you can have. And you could say that in the worker node 2, I need a CentOS actually. CentOS 7.8. Can we have this setting also? Fine, no problem. You can have any Unix flavor. That doesn't really matter actually, unless and until the communication happen from your server to the worker nodes or to the nodes, right? You can choose any of your flavor, Unix flavor. It doesn't really matter. Here also, you say that Rajesh, I have a Ubuntu here. That's a Linux machine. Here I have a Windows machine. Assume that this is Windows, this is not Linux, this is Windows machine, and this is this node 1 is a Windows machine, and the node 2 I'll be using the Mac OS actually. Is this also fine? This combination? Yes, this is fine, no problem. We can even have in this fashion also. We can have Windows instead of all the things Linux. No, I can have one machine as a Windows and one machine as a Mac or Linux or any combination you can have. It doesn't really matter. But make sure that the Ansible should always be installed on Linux. Ansible server should always be installed on Linux. This Node 1, Node 2, it can be any operating system. It can be Windows or it can be Linux or it can be Mac OS. But to make it very simple, or to make us to understand the whole Ansible concept, right? Everything. So we will prefer to choose the Linux itself for all the nodes as well as for your Ansible server, right? So here in this case, I'll be using Ubuntu. Here also I'll be using Ubuntu. Here also I'll be using Ubuntu. Okay. In one more session, I will show you how to install, how to have the complete setup of CentOS or complete setup of SUSE. We can see even that also. It doesn't really matter because the commands are all same actually, right? This is one thing actually. Okay. So usually what happened that in the AWS, right, you have a free tier, right? So you can use a free tier where you can use the T2.micro, right, to to have this all these three servers. I'll be using this actually because Ansible doesn't really need a very high configuration, so it can even be managed aramse with the T2 micro also. Okay, so that's the reason I don't want to go with the T2 medium or T2 large and all. It's not required actually. So that's what. So it means that if you're under free tier, you can easily complete the whole practicals everything freely. You need not to give any money to AWS actually, right? So that is one thing. Now one more important thing is actually that now whenever this configuration management tool it want to communicate, or firstly you want to install the Ansible or everywhere. So what is the request prerequisite that before the Ansible installed, the Python has to get installed actually. So here the Python package should be there actually. Python package should be there. Package should be installed. Either Python 2.7 or Python 3 need to be installed actually. But to be preferably, if you say right nowadays Python 2.7, right, there is no support is given actually because it's already been it's obsolete. People are not using Python much now because the Python org itself they are saying that please move from Python 2.series to 3.series. So that's the reason most of the industries are nowadays they have started using Python 3 only. So I would prefer you to work on Python 3 only, not in Python 2.7 or in the 2 series. It's stop working. Migrate to Python 3 actually. So now what happened that the same Python should be installed. Even suppose like here in this Ansible configuration management server, right? The Python 3 is installed. Even in the node 1 and the node 2, the Python 3 should be installed actually. Sorry, Python to be installed. Python 3 is installed. Need to be installed. Python 3 need to be installed. Okay, sir. So this is a prerequisite. Before you start installing Ansible, you need to have a Python to be installed in all the nodes, right? In the server as well as in the node 1 and node 2, right? That is something. Now here in this case of Ansible config management tool, here you need to install the Ansible. Ansible need to be installed. That's it, guys. So if you ask, do you need the Ansible to be installed in the worker 1 and worker 2? It is not really required actually. Okay. But why Python is needed to be installed everywhere? Because right, Ansible is written in Python language. Python language. Okay, it's written in Python language, right? For your information, right? Like your Puppet and your Chef tool, they have been written using the Ruby language actually. Ruby is a language which is used to, which they have used to write the whole Puppet and the Chef code actually. Okay. So whereas an Ansible is written purely in Python language. Now, what is the need of Python to be installed in every node? Right. Firstly, what happened that Ansible to execute the Ansible internal requires a Python to be installed. If the Python is not installed, Ansible will never get installed into this machine. So the prerequisite for the Ansible itself is that Python should be always be present, either 2 series or 3 series. Preferably Python 3 should be there actually. It can be 3.2 or 3.4, any version, it should be there. Once the Python is there, then only the Ansible will get installed. Otherwise, Ansible will not get installed. Fine, okay. Now, why we need the Python in the other nodes actually? Why? Because that suppose you have some playbook here. Playbook is there. Some playbook is there, or nothing but the YAML file is there. So you want to execute that YAML or the playbook into this node 1 and node 2, right? So what will happen that what the Ansible control manager will do or configuration management will do that it'll try to log into this server node 1. So that's what it does. And then whatever the playbook is there, right? That playbook will be executed over here. So the playbook, whatever the playbook is there, right? It will be executed over here. While the playbook is getting executed, what Ansible will do? Ansible will convert this playbook into the Python bytecode. It internally, what it does, it'll try to what it does, it'll try to convert the whole playbook file or not but the YAML file into the Python bytecode. Then it will start executing. It means that internally what happened, right? How this playbook is getting executed, Ansible will convert the whole playbook into the Python bytecode, and then later the Python will execute your playbook file. That's the reason Python should be there. Is it clear, sir? Guys, is it clear for you why Python is required? Python is required because, right, ultimately the playbook file or the YAML file, it will get executed in the worker node itself or into the node itself. The playbook file has to get converted into the Python bytecode. Who will convert it? The Ansible will convert it. And finally, after it converting the bytecode, who will execute that? The Python itself has to get executed. That's the reason Python should be there. What about Ansible? Ansible should be there here also? No, it's not required. Ansible is not required into the node 1 or node 2 or node 3. In the worker nodes, the Ansible is not required. Only Ansible should be installed into your main server or into the configuration management, whichever server which you are saying as a configuration management, right? There only the Ansible should be installed. Okay, fine. So these are some prerequisites. Okay, so some server should be there. Okay, some software is prerequisite software is required, which is but the Python package should always be there, as well as here in this case I need to install the Ansible. Correct. Now the second question comes, right? How exactly you are trying to log in from your machine to this machine? There has to be some credentials, right? Without a credentials, how this config management can actually log into this node 1, or how this can log into the node 2? So basically you need to maintain some kind of a credentials. Okay. either either you can have a credential of username and the password, or either you can have something like a key value pair. Actually, key value pair means, what is key value pair means? Some kind of a private key and public key, or the private key is required, right? In either way you can do that actually. Now okay, now assume that actually here this server, he want to log into the particular server, right? He has to log into the some particular user account, right? User ID, right? So it means that you need to have some kind of a unique username should be there in each and every server. Even in industry it also happens the same thing, right? Suppose for example you are having 1,000 servers. So you say that the administrator, he want to log into all the 1,000 server and you want to execute some particular task actually, right? Assume that all the 1,000 servers are having a different usernames. So the first server is having Raju, second is Ravi, third is Suresh, fourth is Naresh. There are different user accounts are there. Do you think that you can able to log into each and every different user with the different username and the ID password, different username and the password, and try to execute that automated script? You cannot do that. It is very tedious task actually. So that's the reason what happened. The administrator in the companies, right? What they will do, right? They will create some unique user account in each and every node or each and every server, and they know that I need to log into that server with the help of that username. Okay, and while log into the user, it might ask me the password, so I have to enter it. If you want to automate it, you have to make it as a passwordless authentication. That we will see later how to do passwordless authentication. So it means that in any one method, either you have to give the password and then log into the server, okay, or else you need to log in automatically, means you have to make as a passwordless authentication you have to make, right? But you need to create, you need to have some user which should be common across all the machines. Now here what happened, right? What I need to do here, I need to create some user account. So it means that here in this Ansible config management tool, what I will do, I will create some user account. So what is the user account I'll create? I'll create something like a sudo add user, some username. Like I will create some username as DevOps actually, right? And I will give the password of the DevOps in as DevOps itself actually. I'll give the password as DevOps itself. Okay. So I have created a user account by name DevOps here. Here also I'm creating user account by name DevOps itself. Anything you can use any name. It doesn't really say that you have to use DevOps. I'm just taking, for example, DevOps in my case. Here also in the node 2 also I need to create a user account by name DevOps. Now what happened, right? Here, so you need to log into this machine, or you need to log into this machine with the help of a DevOps user account. Here also you will be logged into this machine with the help of a DevOps. Here also in the Ansible configuration management also you will be logged into the server with the help of a DevOps. Now what happened, right? With the help of a DevOps user account, you can able to communicate from your server to this server. Suppose if you have made as a passwordless authentication, this DevOps user account can log into this DevOps user account into this machine, and he can execute that particular playbook file. Similarly, this server, he can log into this machine with the help of a DevOps user account. Once he logs in, he can execute this playbook file into this node too. Like this way, you can achieve the communication between the server and the node actually, because you need to create some common user account in each and every node, and in the and even in your Ansible server also. This is also one of the prerequisite actually. So the prerequisites are that you need to have a servers, you need to install some package already should be there, as well as you need to even have a Ansible to be installed when it comes to Ansible configuration management tool, as well as finally you need to even create some kind of a user account in all these machines actually, so that you can actually communicate from this machine to this machine without any password. Is it fine, sir? This is what the prerequisite we required. Okay, so is it clear, guys? So shall we see how to install the Ansible now? Are you okay, guys?
Sure, sure.
So what we will do today, we will try to just install the Ansible server and uh, have a worker node or nodes actually, just to do a setup actually. And from tomorrow we will see how things goes. So once we have a setup, what are the things you can do, right? That we will see later, right? So today we'll have some the setup today. Okay, again what I will do tomorrow, again I will show one more time, so that we will we'll rebrush again. So what I will do here, now you could see that I will, so I will get all these three machines, everything into my with my AWS account itself. I will try to assign these three virtual machines, okay, three EC2 machines, and then I will install all the softwares. Okay, now let me log into the console.aws.com, aws.amazon.com. Okay, so I will log into this machine. So I have logged into my AWS account. So here what I will do, I will try to go to the EC2, right? So EC2 service. And as I said earlier, like I will be choosing all the three as a free tier machine. There is 3 to micro, as well as I'll be choosing the Ubuntu 20. You can choose anything, Red Hat or anything, but to just make sure that uh, uh, to make sure that things are working fine, I will just choose Ubuntu itself. We can use any flavor. It doesn't really matter. Like you can even use Red Hat or CentOS or anything. But in today's class, right, we will be seeing on Ubuntu. Okay. So what I will do, I'll go to the instance, running instance. So there are no instances which are running actually. So I'll go to the launch instance here. Launch instance. Now here I will be choosing the Ubuntu 20.04. This is what I'll be. It's under free trial, no free trial eligible. So that's what I will just select it. Now what I will do, guys, I will not use two nodes. Instead, I'll have only one node, node one, and as well as Ansible control manager. I have only these two nodes only. Today I will do. Later tomorrow, what happened? We can keep adding one more node, one more node, as and when we require it. We can keep adding it. As of now, what I will do, I'll just try to create only two virtual machines actually. Okay, so I'll select the 3 to micro. That's what free eligible, and I'll go to the next. So here I'll give the number 2 because I need two machines actually. That's what. Come down over here, nothing. Okay, and then say next. So here shared, okay, it is giving some default 8 GB. Okay, this is okay for me. As of now, I'll just next. So here also I'll be adding tag later, but I will go with the next of security configuration group. Here what I'll do, I'll go with an existing one. Actually, I already have the default existing one, so which I select it and I will just review and I'll say launch. Here what happened that you need to create a key. Already I have a key which I'm having KTS actually. So I'll not be creating any new key here. I'll be using the same old key itself. So that's fine. So this is the key and I'll just say acknowledge it and I'll just launch the instance. So guys, I'm just I just created some only two instances actually, right? So these are two instances. Okay. So I will just give the name here, right, as Ansible control server or Ansible configuration, anything you can do, a control manager, you can do anything. Ansible control manager or Ansible control node or anything you can use. So, and this one I will give as a something like a node one. Here. So these are the two machines. Let me check if it is running. Yes, this is running. Instance something I can instance running. Okay, no problem. I am having these two instances now, Ansible control server and node actually. So which okay, it is still showing its status as initialized only. So let me check. So still I have kept these three servers because I need to complete that Git actually, right? So Git next week I'll be recording sessions. 3 to 4 sessions are still pending. I'll record it. That's the reason I kept this setup. Okay. Let's see if I'm able to log in. So I'll just select here Ansible control node. I will go to the network public IP address, right? This is a private, this is a public IP address. I'll just copy it here and I will open the putty session, log into this. I'll say appearance. I'll give the auth because I need to point to that ppk file, right? So you know this very well, right? ppk file. So I'm just pointing it out there, over there. And here what happened, right? I'll do one thing. I'll give window connections. Hold a second. Session. Terminal. One more thing was there. Hold a second. Yeah, seconds 120. Fine. This is what I've set it. Okay. No problem. I'll just open it. Okay. What has happened? I'll just copy it. This is the same thing, right? Downloads and download. I have maintained it. Fine. Let me check why it is not opening. So it says that something couldn't open default max, something is showing. Okay, let me check why it is not happening. Okay, or else what I can do that as of now, like I can go to my downloads directory, where I have this PEM file actually. You know that kate.pem is there here. So what I will do, I'll directly just do a git bash here. I'll open the git bash here. So I can do this way also. So I have logged the git bash here. So as of now what I will do, I will go to this. I'll just connect it over here. I'll just click onto the connect, and here you could see that I'll go to the SSH client. Here you could see that you can actually copy this line, and then like paste over here because you're already there in the download. Under the download, you have that k.pem is there. So I need that pem file. I'll just okay, I'll just yes. So now Okay, there is added to this and to the known host file permission. Put one more key actually, right? So it doesn't work out. So I have to terminate these two nodes actually. Maybe some that PEM key, right? I don't know, some issue has happened. I'm not able to log into this PEM actually. So what I will do, I will try to create a new PEM now. New PEM key I have to create, and then like through that PEM key, I will try to log into the servers actually. So I have shut down the machines. So shutting down. Okay. Now, so it is terminated now, right? So I will again do a launch actually. Launch the instance. So let me check. Okay, so what I will do, I'll just launch the instance. Again, the same stuff. I'll go over here and I will take a Ubuntu 20 dot, select it, select the T2 dot micro, right? It's already selected. Okay, I'll give the two instance, right? And here go to the okay, go to the tag, right? You are using the existing one, so I can use this one, okay, the default one which I have actually, all the traffic actually, that's what you have selected it, and you'll say remove and we'll say launch. While launching it, it is asking for me to create a key actually, so I will create a new key actually. I'll create a new key. So this time I will give the key name as Ansible something. Okay, and I will download it actually. See, it is using some RSA algorithm to create it. So basically, it is creating a PEM key. It is not, but it's a key which is getting created. So you could see that the PIM key has been got created actually, right? And then I'll just say launch instance. So this where it is downloaded, guys, this is downloaded in my download directory itself. Here itself it is downloaded. Okay, it is downloaded over here. Fine. Now what I will do, I'll try to just view the instance actually. So here again I have two instances. Here I'll say Ansible control manager CM I'll say, okay, and this I will just make it as a node one, anything, right? So we'll see this has come into the running. Okay. So today, guys, what we will see, just we will see the installation. Tomorrow, again, what happened that we will continue the installation, but whereas we will continue even like how to set up the user account and all, how to make it a passwordless authentication, that we will see tomorrow. So what we can do that today, we will just have an hands-on of just creating an servers and installing the software actually. So now you could see that actually both the servers are up. So I will just click on the Ansible control node or control server, and I'll just say connect, and I need to copy this. Here what happened that I'll go to the download and I will just try to open a git bash here. You can even use putty also. Tomorrow I'll show how to use a putty or like a super putty or anything. So as of now, you are just opening a git actually. So here what I will do, I will just paste it and I will log in it here. Now you could see that I'm able to log into this server. Why it is showing permission denied? There is some issue, guys. Actually, I think it's still not initialized. That's the reason I think. See, it is still under initializing only. Okay, hold a second. Permission denied. Permission public key. Hmm. What happened? Still under initializing only. It should work actually. Let's see. Okay. Oh, same issues coming. public key. So what I'm doing, I'm trying to connect over here. I'm going to this is correct. Ubuntu at the rate. Yeah, this is correct actually. This is correct actually. This is same stuff. Okay. Seems like there is some issues there. I need to fix this issue. So Ubuntu is a user, correct? That's a user Ubuntu. Yeah, this is correct. This is perfectly fine. So there is some issue. I think there could be some issue with the security group. So that's the reason I'm not able to log in it. I need to fix this issue. So what I will do, guys, next class tomorrow, right? I will check it, this issue, I'll sort it out this issue so that we can do this, the complete configuration of this Ansible setup, everything we can do it tomorrow. Okay. So that's what we can do tomorrow. Okay. So the server configuration, everything we'll do it tomorrow, guys. Okay. Today, I think there is some issues there. Which I need to fix it. I will see it. What is it actually? Okay. Let me try one more time. I think it is the permission denied public key itself. This is some other issue which I'm seeing. So let me see. Maybe I feel like this is the security group issue itself. Actually, it is related to security group. I will verify and I'll fix this issue. Okay. Let me check in the node one if in case if uh, if we are able to connect. Okay, this is the node one. Okay. I think it'll be same issue, so because both of these nodes are using the same security groups. Yeah, it's the same issue actually. So I'll check into this, guys, and I will get back to you tomorrow. Okay. Hmm? Okay, guys. So sure. Any doubts you have, guys? So the main thing what you have to understand that the Ansible can do the deployment of your application to the servers, right? So the prerequisite for the Ansible is that actually already there has to be a node actually. It means that there has to be a server, right? Now what happened, right? Usually, in the CI/CD pipelining, what happened, right? So in the CI/CD pipelining, what happens that actually that, right? You know very well that, okay, we have a Jenkins server. We have a Jenkins server, right? Now what happen usually the developers will push the code into the GitHub, right? The GitHub where the developer will push the code actually. Now what exactly happened that the Jenkins will try to pull the latest code available from the GitHub, and Jenkins will try to do a build and it'll try to create a package. So it'll try to create a package. It'll try to create the package, software package, right? Once the software package is created, this package has to be pushed into some servers actually, into some test servers, right? So what happened that's the reason what happened. Ansible comes into the picture. So what happened that the Jenkins will communicate to the Ansible, right? The Jenkins will communicate with the Ansible, and the Jenkins will tell that, okay, there is some particular job is there that has to get executed. As part of the job, what Ansible will do, he'll try to pick this package and it will try to deploy that package into all these servers actually. So here the prerequisite for Ansible is that actually already the server should be there actually. The server should be there, right? And what happened that the code is getting picked and it is getting pushed into the server because the servers are already been set up actually, right? Assume that the server itself is not there. So what will happen that you need to have a Terraform, right? Terraform should be there actually. Terraform should be there. So in one server you have installed Terraform. What the Terraform will do? Terraform will try to create the servers, and Terraform can also install the software also, whatever it is required. Correct. So, and what will do that with the help of a remote exec, you know very well that then in this case, in this architecture, what will happen that you don't need Jenkins and all, you can have just Ansible, right? Once the Terraform completes, what the Ansible will do that whatever the code it is there, right? Suppose you have built a complete package, the whole package itself you have uploaded into the GitHub actually. So what the Ansible will do that Ansible will try to pull that package and it will try to install into the end server actually like this. So here what is happening, the server itself is not set up. In that case, like Terraform come to the picture, and you need only Terraform and Ansible to deploy your complete package to the end server actually. Whereas here, server is already there. You are building a package. Okay, you have a Jenkins server. Even you will be having an Ansible server also. So this is most preferable. How I can say that the most preferable method used by the industry, right? Right. Already the setup is there. Okay, but whereas in some situation where happened that you have to keep creating a servers when it is required. In that case, you will be calling a Terraform actually. Right. So this method is also there in many industries actually. Clear, guys? So we'll be following this the first method. This is the first method we're following. So in the after the Ansible, right, I'll be showing in a project actually where you'll be you'll be achieving the complete CI/CD pipelining with the help of Jenkins, Ansible, GitHub, as well as the servers actually. And we'll be having one more project where I'll be showcasing only on Terraform and Ansible actually. So there is also one of the project which I'll be showing it. Okay. So okay, guys, that's all, guys. That's all for today. So tomorrow we will see. Okay.
Okay.
Chalo, chalo. Somebody can stop the session. It's not working.
Not working.